All right, we can say it. It was, wait. All right, now we're live. Okay, we can say it. Spring is here. Summer is here. Something. It was like 86 degrees yesterday. I went hiking. It was beautiful. I got my fresh air brain going. It's good. It's good. News continues to be crazy, but I mean, what else is new? I think today's one of those days, everybody. I think the sign is going to encourage a lot of people to call in and discuss their MAGA beliefs with me. I think that's going to be fun. I think that's going to upset a lot of people. What else is new? Political violence, I would say, is happening. Chud the Builder's in lots of trouble. The first comment of the day is anything but a job. Actually, this is my job. I should, you know what? I'll wait for more viewers before I thank the donors that came in since last show. But yeah. Hello, Steven. Steven says, Oscar! Well, I'll say, Steven! Chud the Builder did something very bad, didn't he? Somehow, in my local sphere of influence, maybe it's just because I live here in Minnesota and I was involved in the situation myself, the Savannah Hernandez fight at the Whipple is getting more attention, it feels, than that this guy tried to murder somebody. Maybe that's probably just my bubble. I have to really, like, I haven't done the deep dive on exactly what news coverage there is of that and what exactly is going on. Yeah, I don't know. It's the sort of thing where, like, he obviously did something really bad. By the way, this is just some, like, Twitter asshole who, like, literally goes around in public. Never mind. We're not going to talk about Chud the Builder. We're going to talk to Average Guy. Accepted him into the queue. How old are you, Average Guy?
26.
You support Trump?
Yeah, I voted for him.
Well, you know, it's funny. Maybe it's pursuant to the sign today, because I feel like just a few months ago, people were like, yes, I voted for Trump. But now people are like, yeah, I voted for him. So then I have to clarify. Do you want him to stay president?
Yeah, I mean, better option. Don't get me wrong, dude. His own supporters are holding his feet to the fire, saying, like, we want you to deliver on these promises. Like, I'm a Republican, so I know, and I'm also, like I told you, I'm 26. Trump is a very small part of my lifetime of politics. Like, if he doesn't deliver what we want, we're just going to move on to the next candidate.
But the problem is that the only thing that has you guys upset is that he's not delivering on his promises to you. You don't give half a shit that he's violating the Constitution left and right. That's kind of my problem, and that's what I would like to discuss, that disparity.
Okay, that's your biggest problem with Trump. Oh, I'm curious.
No, that's not my biggest problem with Trump. That's my biggest problem with you.
Okay. You know, one question I'd love to talk about, if you're interested.
No, it's the question I just asked. It's why are you upset about him not following through on his promises to you, but not upset that he's been flagrantly violating the Constitution since the day he took office?
Okay, let's go into it. I'm not like an expert on this by any means, but what are you talking about? How's he violating the Constitution?
Do you want me to give you one example? And please watch whatever the background noise is. There's quite a lot going on the line.
Here, let me turn it off. 1 second.
Okay. I'll give an example, which is that he filed an executive order that specifically referenced the 14th Amendment, which allows the children of undocumented immigrants to be citizens, because anybody born on U.S. soil, with a couple of interesting examples, a couple of interesting exceptions we could discuss if you're curious. Basically, anybody born here is a citizen. That's the rule. That's what the Constitution says. The Supreme Court has ruled on it. Trump doesn't like that. His followers don't like that because it allows the anchor babies. So he, with an executive order, basically said, no, the children of undocumented immigrants don't have citizenship, which, whether or not you agree about whether or not they should, the really important thing here is that it is not the president's job to change the Constitution. In fact, it's a very important part of the Constitution that it's not the president's job to change it. It's one of our ways that we check power. It's one of the divisions of power in the three branches of government. It is simply not the role of the president to have any say about what is constitutional, what isn't. It's his job to follow the Constitution. So, like, there's just one example, but there are dozens like that.
Hold on, what's the executive order? Is it Executive Order 14160?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship.
Yes. Okay, that's the one. Okay. I mean, do we have to sit here and read it for the millionth time on the show, or do you believe me that he literally references the line that says that all persons born here get citizenship, and says that no, this doesn't apply to illegal immigrants, even though the Supreme Court has ruled on it applying to illegal immigrants. Sorry, I just woke up, slept in today. I was working late last night. My tongue is still tied from sleeping, but I think you get what I'm saying.
I just want to be on the same understanding of, like, information. The way I debate is a little slow. It's not good for clipping or whatever, but okay, I got the executive order right in front of me. What part of this executive order are you unhappy with?
Oh my God. Do we need to, or was it 14160? Let's pull it up for everybody to look if we're going to do it this way.
Because I might agree with you. I mean, I haven't heard that this is actually violating the Constitution, but
I mean, it literally references the. Is it still on the White House website or has it been taken down?
Yeah, I'm on WhiteHouse.gov. Presidential actions.
Yeah, I just don't know why I didn't find it right away.
It's called protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship.
See, I guess like while we spend a little time getting here, just Google failed me on getting it up first. Part of what I find alarming is that you're so willing to sit here and read this boring document about, which like this is important. I'm just calling it boring because it is like legalese, like executive order language. When I'm just gonna like point out to everybody, this is not what you do when Biden did something bad, right? Like you didn't go and dig on like exactly what the law and the thing and the order said.
I can recite to you the entirety of the American Rescue Plan.
I levied an accusation, but I do just think it's a little bit like strange that like there's this level of scrutiny every time somebody calls in and wants to talk about this stuff. Definitions.
I bet most people I don't think most people actually look into the things you bring up. That's what I'm trying to do. So what part of this bill are you reading?
Okay. The privilege of the United States citizenship is a priceless and profound gift. The 14th Amendment states, all persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the of the state wherein they reside. That provision rightly repudiated the Supreme Court of the United States' shameful decision in the Dred Scott v. Sanford, which misinterpreted the Constitution as permanently excluding people of African descent from the eligibility for United States citizenship solely based on their race. So again, this is originally like a lot of the politics around this amendment was for the children of slaves. So it's a different group that were being mistreated by Americans in a previous century. Now we're talking about illegal immigrants. Among the categories of individuals born in the United States and not subject to the jurisdiction thereof, the privilege of the United States citizenship does not automatically extend to persons born in the United States, one, when that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and was not an United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth, or when that person's mother's presence in the United States at the time of said person's birth was lawful but temporary, such as not limited to visiting the United States under the auspices of the visa waiver program or visiting student, work, or tourist visa, and the father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth. Oh God, do we have to read this whole fucking thing to find exactly where it says it? I haven't read this in months. I'm just going to do it because you insisted. The policy of the United States that no department or agency of the United States government shall issue documents recognizing the United States citizenship or accept documents issued by state, local, or other government authorities purporting to recognize the United States citizenship to persons when that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and when the person's father was not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth, or when that person's mother's presence in the United States was lawful but temporary and the person's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident. Okay, again, I could read this whole thing to my audience, which would be a terrible way to start the show, just viewership-wise, just being straightforward with you. My point is, even having read this far, the president is weighing in on what an amendment of the Constitution means. You understand that that's an impeachable offense, right?
Like him stating an opinion on his interpretation of the Constitution?
Yeah. Do you know whose job it is in the U.S. government to state opinions on what the Constitution means?
Yeah. The Supreme Court is the one who interprets the Constitution, but I think under
then why did the president issue an executive order interpreting the Constitution?
Well, I think it's similar to Abraham Lincoln when he wanted to abolish slavery. Like it technically under your same logic when Abraham Lincoln was saying that slavery should be abolished. This is how we start the process of amending the Constitution. We bring up a part of the Constitution that is no longer applicable or something that we should amend, and that's exactly what Abraham Lincoln did. People were arguing against him back then that like giving citizenship rights to slaves is unconstitutional, and the founding fathers never wanted that. But I think we should put in an amendment. Like the Constitution is a live document.
Okay.
It could be changed.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference between. By the way, like hot take what you just said, but I'm going to address it directly. If you would be right if the Constitution said prior to 1865, please enslave black people. If it said that, and then he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, that would have been unconstitutional. But it never actually said in the Constitution that you're allowed to enslave black people, and he was turning that over. He was just saying, hey, everybody, the Constitution doesn't happen to protect black people from being enslaved. Can we fucking work on that? And then they did, and they made an amendment. That's not what's happening here. The Constitution specifically protects the rights of these people, and Trump is overturning that right. Do you see how that's different? Yes, you do. I'm going to accuse you of seeing it because I think you'd have answered quickly if you didn't see it.
I'd have to think about it. Well, so
think hard about it. No, I'll let you. You can take time on my show to think about it. Think about the fact that the Constitution specifically protects a right that Trump is dismantling, whereas the Constitution did not specifically protect the rights of slave owners. There's nothing about slavery in the Constitution. It's just because the people who wrote the Constitution are racist. It didn't explicitly state that black people are people in the first place. It didn't explicitly state that women are people in the first place. That's why they didn't have the right to vote. Same thing with suffrage. You can make the same argument about suffrage. I don't think there was presidential action that got suffrage to happen, but same thing. You see how it's different, that there was nothing in the Constitution about slavery, which was bad because that allowed slavery. So the president was like, yo, guys, work on it. And then they did. That's not what's going on here. The Constitution specifically protects these people. The Supreme Court has ruled on what that protection means. It's very, very clear. And Trump is saying, I don't like that. Here's an executive order changing it. Not saying we should fix something, not saying we should add something, changing what is already there. That's the difference.
Well, you can have the Constitution, the executive branch can have its role in actually choosing how to enforce it, and then the Supreme Court acts as a check and balance.
No, you're weaseling out of it. The president filed an executive order that violated the direct language of the Constitution.
Okay, so did the Supreme Court rule this unconstitutional then?
I don't even know where it is in that process. He does so many things that are this unconstitutional that it's hard to keep track of all of them, and it's literally my job to do that. So forgive me for forgetting where this is in the ruling. But again, it's so obvious a violation. I'm not comforted by the fact that it might get shot down or might already have been shot down by the Supreme Court. The president shouldn't do this type of shit, and if they do, it is the job of Congress to impeach such a president.
No, it's the job of the Supreme Court to rule if something's unconstitutional. You're getting away from this. People bring up the fact that Biden tried to forgive student loans in a way that the Supreme Court ruled was unconstitutional. But again, it's the same thing. There's nothing about student loans in the Constitution and the way didn't rule that this is unconstitutional.
What?
That's a huge difference. Yeah, the Supreme Court ruled that Biden was acting unconstitutionally.
Yeah, because he was doing something to do with money, and then basically the Supreme Court said, "Hey, Biden, that's."
The Supreme Court did not rule that this is unconstitutional. What executive order that Trump laid out? You're just saying that as if you're the arbiter of truth on what's unconstitutional.
Here's the problem with you calling me the arbiter of truth for saying that this is unconstitutional. Republicans have convinced people like you that you can't just like read the language yourself. It's so obviously unconstitutional that I don't think you have a spine if you can read this executive order and say it was a constitutional thing for the president to do.
Oh, if it was unconstitutional, the Supreme Court would weigh in on it, just like they do every other executive order.
Yes, and people tell me that if Donald Trump was a rapist, he'd be in prison, even though he was found civilly liable for a crime that is now recognized almost everywhere as rape. Like, the legal system is broken, and he is exploiting the loopholes in it because, yes, there doesn't happen to be a mechanism for stopping every unconstitutional thing quickly that the president does, and he is doing it at a rate that no president has ever done in American history. And you're sitting here excusing him. Why? Can you read?
No, I'm asking you, like, I'm not going to pretend like I'm the arbiter of truth or I know better on the Constitution, and you shouldn't either. You should leave that.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on. No. We don't need. No, stop. I'm interrupting you because there's a problem with the way that you're talking about this. Because I don't think there's anything I could show you Trump doing unconstitutional where you wouldn't fall back to some layer where like, oh, well, maybe they'll find it unconstitutional, or well, I guess the Supreme Court, or like whatever thing. Like, so the issue is, do you think it's physically possible for the United States government to do something that is against the Constitution, or just because of the fact that it is happening makes it okay?
Of course, that's why we make amendments.
Okay, so when Donald Trump,
we have amendments.
Right, this isn't an amendment; it's a fucking executive order. So, like, why are you defending an executive order that not only goes against the direct language of the Constitution? You still haven't answered this. You still haven't admitted that it's a good difference. I pointed out between this situation and Abraham Lincoln getting rid of slavery. I think you're too cowardly to actually speak openly about how you feel about that, because I could hear in your voice that I made a good point that landed with you. You still haven't addressed that problem, and I think that's kind of what's going on here. You're just dodging the fact that this is so flagrantly and obviously unconstitutional. At some point, it has to be up to the people, we the people, to interpret that the government is misbehaving, right?
Of course, yeah.
okay, I am interpreting this. I can read. I understand the precedent. I know the facts of this. I know the American history behind it. I, as a concerned citizen of America, am saying, yo, government's fucking up. This is really bad. Supreme Court should be quicker on this shit. President shouldn't be doing any of this stuff. Congress should be impeaching any president who tries to do this stuff. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Biden had done something this unconstitutional like once a week? Because Trump does. This is one example that we're zooming in on. And the fact that it's sitting here getting this much scrutiny, even though anybody who literally has like a 5th grade reading level can understand that the president shouldn't have signed this executive order. Obviously, it would be shot down if the Supreme Court is actually going to support the Constitution, which they might not, because they have 3 conservative appointees that he didn't appoint and 3 that he did appoint, which is why they fight sometimes. It's 3 Trump loyalists that are conservative, 3 non-Trump loyalists who are conservative, and then 3 left-leaning judges. So it's a little bit of a toss-up on what terrible unconstitutional things of his they're actually going to support. He lost on the tariffs. Those 3 that he appointed probably wanted to protect their own careers, because that was even more flagrantly unconstitutional than this. That's another example, by the way. But like, at a certain point, we just have to say the fucking system is not working. And I will share with you that there was polling data among American voters, which is that in December of 2024, 2/3 of people were convinced that the system of checks and balances in our government were working. And a year later, about a few months ago, in December of 2025, the same question was asked with the same polling parameters, the same practices, and that percentage has flipped. Now 2/3 of people think that the checks and balances aren't working. And what I am trying to do is to get you to jump ship with everybody else. I was in the original third that knew the checks and balances weren't working. I was concerned about it the day that Trump got elected. 1/3 of Americans have switched teams. That's fucking insane on that particular question. And you're still in the dwindling third of people who for some reason can't see how obviously unconstitutional all of this stuff is.
Well, I mean, so referring to that executive order, I'm failing to see, and the Supreme Court also fails to see your opinion of it being unconstitutional. Like, we already talked about this. The point of the 13th Amendment was to free slaves and grant them citizenship, a pathway to citizenship. Never in the writing ever was it meant to be used as a way for people who are just visiting here or coming here illegally, as a way for them to gain the system, and it's becoming a major problem.
Listen, shut up. No,
5 minutes straight.
No, because you're sidestepping what I'm saying. You're getting lost in these individual examples instead of addressing the fact that the president is frequently and constantly.
Your 5-minute monologue went to 5 different points.
I was on really just the one thing about him violating the Constitution in a way that's obvious to everyone. I'm talking broadly about the problem. Just watch this video.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution?
Why do you even have me up here if you don't want to?
All right, I'm gonna go back and play it again. If you can't interrupt, we're gonna do it 8 times in a row to show everybody how bad.
We can't hear your audio.
You can't hear my audio?
But
no.
Even given those numbers that you're talking about,
you can't hear it. Can the audience hear it? That should be working. Could you hear it?
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay. Read the subtitles and trust me, because there's audio of this. You can go watch it yourself.
It's covered by the chat. Can you move it up? Can you move it up on your screen? The chat's completely covered. Okay. Well, worst, most dangerous people on earth, and I was elected to.
Even given those numbers,
don't read it out loud, dude. The audience can hear it. Like what? Like seriously. Like I'm maybe gonna clown on you a little bit for like having a hard time with this, because like seriously, dude, don't read it out loud. They can hear you. Mute yourself. Whatever you need to do. Stop fucking with me. Like, get off my show if you're fucking with me. Too many people are watching for this bullshit.
Numbers that you're talking about. Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously.
Okay. I don't know if I'm having technical difficulties and nobody can hear me, but hopefully it was seen on the screen and anybody can go look for themselves. He was asked the question, don't you have to uphold the Constitution? To which he responded, I don't know.
I mean, I see people clip Trump out of context all the time.
Go watch the fucking context, dude. Like, she was literally saying, hey, this immigration thing that you're doing, it's going to be really hard. There's going to be like, and he's saying, yeah, there's lots of cases. And then he goes, yeah, but in that process, don't you have to uphold the Constitution above all else, is basically what the read between the lines on the context is that. And he's saying, I don't know, because he so wants to deport all these illegal immigrants. Going to be awfully hard to do that while following the Constitution, which is why no other president has flagrantly violated the Constitution to do it. So, dude, in what context? Explain it to me. In what context is it appropriate for the United States president to answer the question, don't you have to uphold the Constitution, by saying, I don't know? Make up a context that makes sense for that.
Well, I think the Constitution is subject to be changed. I think we should add an amendment.
By whom? By whom?
by Congress.
Okay, so the president being asked, don't you need to defend and uphold the Constitution? And him saying, I don't know. He should know, because he took an oath of office where he swore to defend and uphold what? The Constitution. Like, do you not understand civics enough to know how much of an emergency this is?
No, I get what you're saying, dude. But what we also see with like his executive orders is him trying to start a movement to change the Constitution, to amend it.
Okay, let me just put it really simple. Let me put it really. No, I'm not going to let your point is not worth finishing. I'm not going to allow you because you're dodging my question. Here. No. Okay, fine. Ask your question, and then I'm going to take you in a different direction. What's your question?
Do you think that there's people coming in here and abusing the 14th Amendment, purposely having?
It doesn't matter. None of that matters. Even if you're right about that, because you're not getting that it doesn't matter whether or not.
One question and you won't answer. You dodge it like crazy and you interrupt me. Just answer the question. Do you think that there's people coming into this country, illegal immigrants, taking advantage of the 14th Amendment, having children on purpose so that they have a right to be here?
No, I don't think that's a problem, because they should be allowed to do that, because it says on the foot of the Statute of Liberty that we should welcome those people in. You are not a fucking American if you think that we should close our doors to the tired, weary, and huddled masses the world over.
I love immigration. Dude, I love immigration. We should have people here.
Okay, I answered
illegal immigration.
I answered your question, but even if I didn't feel that way, we disagree about that. I disagree with the president on that. Again, it doesn't matter. It's just not the president's job to rule on that. If you hired me for a job and made me swear to do a thing, I signed a thing and said, okay, I'm going to follow the employee handbook and I'm going to do all the things that I'm supposed to do, or else I'll get fired. And then the very next day you ask me, Oscar, do you need to follow the employee handbook? And I said, I don't know. Is it making it easy for me to do what I'm trying to do today? You'd fire me, right?
In that scenario, yes. But I also think that
in that scenario, yes, that is the scenario. The employee handbook for the president is the Constitution. He swears an oath to it when he takes the office, and here he is saying he doesn't know that he has to follow it. So we should fire him. The mechanism for that is impeachment, and every member of Congress who votes against the impeachment articles are fucking traitors who don't believe in the Constitution either. Every one of them belongs in prison.
I think that presidents have a right, and they do this all the time, to elaborate on their understanding of the Constitution.
No.
They can operate in the executive branch.
No.
Wait, how can they not do that?
This is not how America works. This is not the separation of powers. This is not the balance of powers. This is not the three branches of government. This is not the role of the president. This is a violation of his oath of office. I just explained that clearly. I gave an example of an employee doing that at a job, and you said that they'd be fired. The employee, Donald Trump, at the job of running the fucking White House, is doing that. Like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, how are you so cognitively dissonant that you can't see how all of these analogies apply directly, and he should be immediately fired for doing this?
No, it's called departmentalism. It's the theory that the executive, legislative, and judicial branch all have the equal authority to interpret the Constitution for their own domain.
Did you make that up? That's not what it fucking says in the Constitution.
Well, I'm arguing that there's a theory that scholars actually acknowledge that this is very important, and presidents do it all the time. That's why you see presidents leading things like the Civil Rights Act. You see them leading things like the abolishment of slavery, women's suffrage. These are
do they work with Congress to accomplish those things in a way that doesn't violate the Constitution?
Of course, and Trump should do the exact same thing. I'm arguing for an amendment.
He's doing a bunch of unconstitutional things. He's disobeying orders from the judicial branch. The chat is like telling me that you're just making the rounds on all the debate lives, like spewing this same line of reasoning, which is why I'm not able to take this conversation anywhere, because you came here with your talking points to talk about how you think that the president should be able to do this sort of stuff.
No, this is your talking point. I didn't even want to talk about this. I wanted to ask you a question about what Kamala Harris said on her live, and you brought me down this rabbit hole.
All right, fine. There's no progress to be made on you. You're so cognitively dissonant. There's nothing I can show you. Even the president saying himself that he's violating the Constitution, literally with his own fucking voice. If that doesn't do it for you, we can abandon that topic. I'm gonna do a cheeky little thing and declare the W. What do you want to talk about Kamala Harris for?
Good job on the W. Packing the Supreme Court. How do we support that, or how do you defend that? More importantly.
Yeah, I think that this is a belief I've had since before Trump was a politician. I think that the president appointing Supreme Court justices is maybe made sense in the 17 or 1800s, but I think we're getting to a place where with the scale of the country and the scale of everything involved, I would actually support Congress in changing the rules such that it's a little hard because you don't want Congress appointing themselves as the people who can appoint Supreme Court justices. But I actually don't like that the president appoints them. I just think that that's a bad rule in general. I think that needs
that's separate.
reform.
That's separate from what we're referring to. Like, for example, like Kamala Harris is advocating for packing the Supreme Court when Democrats come back into power. How is that
obviously.
not just going to turn? How is that not just going to turn the Supreme Court into an extension of the executive branch, like the DOJ?
We're trying to make the government run by people who follow the Constitution, and right now that's the Democrats for the reasons I just spent 20 minutes explaining to you. So sorry, the Republicans are going to die off. It is inevitable that the Republicans are going to like go extinct as a party. Like there might be another party, like they might change. People might look at the Republicans in 50 years and go, oh yeah, remember because of Trump, like they actually like changed completely like their whole background, because like all these old racist farts who just like want to gerrymander and like take lunches away from children and stuff, like that's becoming so unpopular that the Republicans are actively trying to rig the midterms to prevent losing the last bit of power they have. Like it's fucking over for them.
Why are you avoiding the topic so hard? Like we're not even talking about all that. The Republicans 50 years in the future. I'm asking you, how does packing the Supreme Court not undermine the whole separation of powers that our institutions were built upon, where every election cycle, if the party in control doesn't like what the Supreme Court's saying, they're just going to add more justices.
You're reading a script that you read in every live. The chat's telling me. So again, like, which makes me feel like you're not going to navigate farther from this, but which makes it hard to have a conversation with you. But what I'm saying is that if that packed Supreme Court represents the will of the majority of the people, that's not a violation of the separation of powers. That's just fair representation of what the American values are, as stated by we the people. Sorry you're losing, but you know, the thing about progressives is that if society progresses, then the progressives win, and that's what's been happening forever. School is free and compulsory, you know, like the fire department's free. It used to cost money. Like all these like semi-democratic socialist ideas, they're growing because society's getting better, and it sticks in the mud like yourself who are trying to like keep things to the ways of yore and like keep people out of here or whatever like antiquated racist bullshit ideas you have. Like sorry that as time goes on, most people think that we shouldn't be racist and shitty and all these other conservative leading ideas. That is going away, so they're fucking desperate. Like yes, the necessary course of history is that the liberal ideologies are going to take over like all three branches of government, because that's just what's going to happen in society. You're going to be butthurt about it, but like get over it. What's actually going to happen is that the line between liberal and conservative is going to move along the ideological spectrum so that it stays closer to 50-50 for the purposes of people being able to fight in elections, because the losing party always fights harder to win the election, so it's going to tip it back there. But in 50 years, conservatives are going to look liberal compared to how they are today, which is the case from 50 years ago and 50 years before that. It's the course of history, dude. Learn your history.
Yeah, so you're arguing that, I mean, under that logic, we should just go ahead and pack the Supreme Court and get rid of the filibuster right now, since Republicans are in control. We should. Why would we? If you're agreeing to that form of warfare with the Supreme Court, where we just keep adding an infinite amount of judges and we never stop at any point, like why would Trump not just pack the Supreme Court preemptively?
I mean, like you're talking about this arms race in terms of how many people get to be appointed to the Supreme Court, and like that. Yeah, I started this conversation. I started by saying that I don't like this. Like the one thing I don't actually like about the way the U.S. government works is how Supreme Court justices are appointed. So I like recognize that there is this problem that right now currently has been abused by conservatives. Like conservatives are winning a game, and you're concerned about what might happen if Democrats start winning it. Do you not see the hypocrisy in that?
Well, if you want to argue that president
answer that question. You are upset about the idea of Democrats winning the game that the Republicans are winning. How does that not make you a hypocrite?
Well, I'd like to answer both questions, and starting with your first one, you're saying if you want to change the process that presidents aren't the ones that appoint Supreme Court justices, you by all means put in something to Congress, a bill to Congress that would change that process. But that's not what we're talking about. Okay. We're talking about sidestepping the current processes that have been working in this country for the past 150 years in order to gain political power over the judicial branch. That's the whole point of why you want to pack the Supreme Court, is to gain political power and not wait for the typical process.
Hot take. I want the elected and appointed officials in our government to be my party. Duh.
Even if it means undermining the constitutional institutions that protect that.
I think the system is a little bit broken, because if you elect a president, like a blue president, that just because a bunch, it really is a roll of the dice when justices die or retire or whatever. So I do think it's just a little like unfair. We're kind of rolling the dice on what the Supreme Court justices were. I think if Congress handled it, it would be more likely for those justices to represent the will of the people because like there's more distributed representation. If you have right now as a Democrat, I don't have representation in the White House. None. It's Trump. It's all red. But I do have representation in the House, and there could be a mechanism by which that prevents the Supreme Court from being packed in a way that's unfair. Because I don't like rules that allow me to win unfairly, because those are the same rules that would allow somebody else to win unfairly. So like I'm not.
Let me just close the door on this that you're saying, dude. I honestly, not thinking about it, what you're telling me, I agree with you that it'd probably be better for Congress to be the one picking the Supreme Court justices. But I would support that bill going into Congress. But I'm not. That's not what we're arguing, and that's not what Kamala Harris is saying what we should do when we come into power. She's saying that we should. She hasn't even mentioned that. That's your own talking point. What she's saying.
You're talking to me.
Hack the Supreme Court. And you're like having a hard time defending that because it's hard to defend because we know that that just turns.
I don't support like totally packing it completely. I think that that's like an exploitation in the same way that I don't support Okay, let me explain it clearly. I don't support gerrymandering, but I support the current efforts by Democrats to gerrymander because we are fighting back against a very dangerous, unconstitutional situation where the country might fucking slip into tyranny. And I personally think that's a better approach than exercising the Second Amendment at this time. So, like, instead of falling into a fucking civil war, like we're fighting fire with fire politically, and it's the same thing with trying to pack the court in response to what Republicans are doing. I think a system that allows any of this to happen is bad and needs reform, but that doesn't mean that I think we should sit back and get fucked in the ass by people like you.
Wait, so for you to say that for you to compare this to gerrymandering, you'd have to prove that Republicans packed the court previously, and we haven't added a single Supreme Court justice seat since like the 19th century. Like that's why the analogy doesn't make sense because you're saying Kamala Harris is actually doing this in response.
Wait. Trump, what are you talking about? No, stop. What did you just say about Republicans appointing Supreme Court justices?
What do you mean?
You said that that Republicans haven't appointed a Supreme Court justice since the 90s?
No. What?
I'm trying to understand what you just said. The chat is also lighting up with people not under. Just restate. What did you just say about Yeah, because Trump appointed three of them.
You brought up the gerrymandering analogy, and you're saying we're gerrymandering in defense, and that's why you're using that as a justification to pack the court in defense. But I'm saying you'd have to actually prove that the Republicans were packing the court at some point. We haven't added a single Supreme Court justice seat. I'm not saying that we haven't appointed Supreme Court justices. I'm saying the number of seats have been 9 since like 1870.
Okay, yeah. Nobody's successfully packed it all the way. When people talk about packing the Supreme Court, they're just talking about getting a bunch in there. It doesn't have to be unanimous for you to be for me to be right about this. Trump, to some degree, packed the Supreme Court. He put 3 of his own picks, and Trump's picks are terrifying because they're not.
Packing. Can you define packing the Supreme Court?
Oh God, packing it full of people who. Yeah, dude, we're gonna sit here and argue semantics.
No. Packing the Supreme Court means adding seats in order to gain influence in the Supreme Court. Do we agree that's the definition?
If that's the argument, then I don't. Then no, I don't agree with that.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying. Like you,
I mean, I might agree with increasing the number just because that might make sense to do. There's more Americans than there were.
Why does it make sense to do? Why?
Because there's more Americans than there used to be.
But we also have a lot. Like
if you have a club with 100 people in it and you have a board that's 10 people, if the club expands to 1,000 people, it might make sense to expand the board to 20 people. So like that just makes sense to me in an apolitical sense.
We already solved that issue with the lower district courts.
I mean, yeah, that does help with that issue, which is why the number doesn't.
Solves the issue.
Which is why in my example, that means that we don't have to increase the number of people on the board to 100, like scale it perfectly. But we might need to increase it a little bit as the issues become more complicated. I can see an argument there, but it's not one about.
Do you know why we increased the number of Supreme Court justices?
I don't. You know what? Actually, I'm arguing with a person who doesn't believe in the Constitution. This is a waste of time. I'm not going to discuss this with you. I'm sorry. You can come back and show me that you believe in the Constitution, and then we can talk about this shit. But I'm not going to talk about minutia about the Supreme Court.
Packing the Supreme Court is indefensible, and that's why you're running away from the conversation.
I'm not defending it. I didn't defend it. I'm sitting here.
So you agree that it's bad policy?
I'm saying that talking about how we
bad policy.
Shut up and listen. I'm telling you that I'm not going to waste my time talking about how we appoint Supreme Court justices to somebody who doesn't think that the president. who doesn't believe that the president needs to follow the Constitution. What is the fucking point?
Look, is it good or bad policy to pack the Supreme Court?
I'm gonna move on, dude. I already answered that. I'm not
Okay, just answer it one more time for the chat. Is it good or bad policy?
Chat, you know what? I'll just I'll just ask the chat. Keep or kick. Do you guys want me to keep talking to the guy who doesn't think that the president has to follow the Constitution about how we appoint Supreme Court justices?
Bad policy that you have to just wave the white flag and pretend like it's not actually going to happen.
Dude, you're gonna be such a lonely human being if you think that if you like, dude. I haven't hung up yet, dude. I'm gonna keep talking to you about this for a second. I think that if you call into lives and you find a strategy that results in you being kicked, you're thinking that that's because it's a W and everybody else realizes it's because your political position is a fucking waste of time in 2026.
You literally stopped defending Kamala Harris's policy because it's indefensible. And you won't even, at this point, you won't even say if it's a good or bad policy.
I did say I didn't support it. Like, what the fuck is this? You guys are incapable of hearing that I agree with you. What the fuck
now
is
you're
this,
saying
dude?
You don't support it, but when we started, you said I actually think that this is a good idea so that we can because Republicans pack this.
I want there to be more liberal-leaning judges. I want there to. That's a goal I personally have. I'm saying that just packing it. Like, I don't think that if we expand. Okay, allow me to fucking explain this to you. Stop interrupting me. If we increase the number of Supreme Court justices, I can see an argument for doing that. That argument should not be to defeat Donald Trump.
Okay, but what is your argument? Why should we add more justices? Why?
I'm not that fucking concerned about that. We can do that after this experiment in tyranny is over.
You have no idea why we should do that.
I gave an example and an analogy, and you responded to it by saying that
the gerrymandering.
Shut the fuck up and let me answer. Like, what the fuck, dude? You're the one who looks indefensible if you don't let me answer this. Here, shut up. You're not. I'm gonna kick you immediately if you interrupt me. Let's lay this out, and when I'm done talking, you can tell me if you agree about how the conversation has gone. Everybody told me to kick you, but I'm gonna answer before you go. Perfect. You asked me why we should expand the Supreme Court. I gave an example. I said that if you have a club with 100 people in it and it expands to 1,000, might make sense to expand the board. You rebutted by saying that we solve that by expanding the lower courts. I said, that does help. That's why I said that you should expand from 10 board members to 20 instead of scaling it perfectly from 10 to 100, because maybe you have some lower level bureaucracy in your club now that handles that. But I still think that at the very top, the biggest, most important issues necessarily become more complicated because of the expanding population. The population has expanded 100-fold in the time since we organized all this stuff. So I do see an argument for making it a number like 15 instead of 9. I do not think it is a democratic thing to do to make that rule change to defeat a particular politician, Donald Trump. That is my position. Do you understand that?
I understand, but what it fails to acknowledge on my position is you're not giving me the why. You're telling me that we have a lot more people now, therefore we need a lot more Supreme Court justices. But we've already dealt with that. I'm not.
Problem. You brought that topic.
Hold on.
You gave that topic.
No
all right, I'm actually just gonna kick him. He gave that topic. I gave my opinion on it. It's not what I wanted to talk about. I don't think it's important right now. It's not the approach I think is happening, and he just can't fucking get past that because it's the only fucking talking point that he has. Oh my God, let's read some donations. Rutham, I'm coming for you in the queue. You hang out. Man, like fucking like what? It's so disingenuous, this type of approach to like just like force something down my throat, and I'm sitting here being like, nope, I don't agree. I didn't. This is not what I like. Rutham ran. He doesn't want to deal with me either. Who do I have to thank on Venmo? I have Cheryl to thank on Venmo. This came in right after today's episode. She says, I enjoy your debate style. I appreciate you holding people accountable to the lies and misinformation they attest to. Trying, Cheryl, trying to hold that guy to the fact. Like, why does that guy care about the Supreme Court at all if he doesn't think the president has to follow the Constitution? Like, what is the fucking point? There's actually more L hosts in the chat than usual. Maybe I look like a fool, but also Paul. By the way, this one came in a couple days ago and I missed it for some reason. So thank you, Paul, for sending me $25 on Buy Me a Coffee. He says thanks for what you're doing. It matters. I appreciate that, Paul. If you want to support me, you can go to link tree in my bio and follow me on the other platforms. That helps me for free. It doesn't cost a dime. If you got a dime you want to send me, you can send it to me on Venmo, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon. Those are the ways. Anyway, my God. We're going to talk to Piano Player Dude. Welcome, Piano Player Dude. Lovely. How old are you? Ooh, that was a very fast arpeggio. How old are you?
I'm 16.
Goodbye. I think I knew that. I think I knew that guy was underage. He's been on Dean. But Dean's also a piano player, so he also falls for it. Anyway. Kamito says, better than listening to the host panic. Well, if you want to keep making me panic, you can hit the request button on your screen and hop up. Oh, man, it's been like a week since I've had to start muting accounts in the chat. Kid has chops. Yeah, no, it's a great piano player. I can't play like that. I know how I just, I know my chords and stuff. But that's somebody who's really put the time in. I'm kind of newer at piano. Parker, what are you saying, Parker? Parker JPs says, I will be the servant we need. This guy, this is my campaign. What? Echo chamber muting opposition in the chat. Okay, dude, I mute people in the chat to encourage them to hit the request button. It's not about, it's literally because there's nobody in the queue right now. So 200 people watching and none of them want to talk to me because they saw how I just handled you, average guy. So yes, I mute people in the chat to encourage them to hit the button. Oh, he's spamming it? Wait, I have an idea. I'll block him. Don't spam in my chat. That you get blocked for. Goodbye. Curry is in the chat, or is in the queue.
Thank you.
How old are you?
35.
You support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Why on earth?
I like him.
Gross. Why?
He does a good job.
No, he doesn't.
Well, and that would be subjective.
I don't think so. It's pretty clear in the Constitution what the president's job is, and as I discussed with the previous caller, he's not doing those things. So I think that he's doing a bad job.
Okay, you can. I trust him. Let's put it that way.
Why do you trust a person who lies so flagrantly as he does? He's very inconsistent. Did you trust him not to start a war in Iran?
No. Hold on.
Okay, so you didn't trust him on that particular topic?
Well, he never talked about Iran.
Oh, yes. Wait. Hold on. I think I've got one for that. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, let me find it. I'm going to do it, even though it's
is
dead air.
Iran your reason for not liking Trump?
No. It's just that you said that you trust him. I'm going to find a clip. I thought I had it bookmarked. Forgive me for the dead air.
I mean, I think it's great to have somebody in office that actually has a brain.
Our president will start a war
to know
with Iran
that if anything arises.
Okay, I'm going to mute you. I don't mute people very often, but we're watching a video now and you're going to listen to it, so I'm going to mute you because you just immediately started talking. Yes, I do, because you were talking over my video. I'm going to mute you. You are muted.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a
Okay, so I am having a technical issue apparently today, which is
that's all right.
Anyway,
you could just tell me what he said.
He said that Obama would be. He said that. Oh my God, people are saying it's fake, and also the audience is telling me that they can hear it fine, which is I don't know how that's getting piped. It's showing me on the screen that you should be able to hear it. So anyway, he's saying that Obama would be a weak president if he negotiated. This is a clip from 2011. It's not AI. Stop saying it's fake in the chat. That's ridiculous. He said that Obama would be a weak president if he failed to negotiate with Iran and started a war with them. Obama did negotiate with Iran and started a war with them, and then Trump in his first term threw out those negotiations, gave them 5 years to work on their nukes so that he had an excuse to then start the war with them. So no, you are wrong. He has had a clear and obvious path to starting this war in Iran while saying that he didn't want to start a war in Iran for longer than he's been a fucking politician.
Do you think it's possible that over time Iran has escalated the situation by increasing their nuclear?
I just explained that literally 18 seconds ago. Yes, they did that because he threw out those negotiations that Obama, after all, successfully did do.
So you believe that you can negotiate with Iran?
Yeah, it was working. The JCPOA was doing great.
Well, that would just be a fundamental belief that I disagree with you on. I don't think you can.
You disagree with Donald Trump because he, in the video that I just played that everybody else heard, you can go watch it yourself, he said that Obama would be a bad president if he failed to negotiate with Iran and went to war with them. So you think that Trump is wrong about all this?
What year was that?
The clip?
Yeah.
2011.
Okay, so the mark of intelligence is the ability to change your mind when you are confronted with new evidence and new information.
Okay.
So
okay, we'll go with more recent. We'll go with more recently when he was campaigning for the current term and said that he would start no new wars, which includes a war with Iran, even if he doesn't mention Iran as a country.
Well, he kind of threw that out of the water because they didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize.
So he threw a temper tantrum about not getting an award and then violated his own campaign promise to not start a war in Iran, which has resulted in deaths and the global oil market being inflated.
Well, and we just have a misunderstanding of the world because you think Trump is running the country when really he's with a group of people that run the country. So,
dude, well, what does that have to do with, like, we're talking about whether or not you trust him, and I'm showing you a bunch of inconsistencies of his. Stop bringing other things into this. Do you trust him or not? Because he's been very inconsistent.
I trust him because you know what he's going to do?
You said that he just started a war because he didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize. You trust a president that would... Then why did you bring up the Nobel Peace Prize?
It just shows that... Well, okay. My point is that this is going to be...
Why did you bring up the Nobel Peace Prize?
Oh, because that's
I don't understand.
He said. He said that.
So you're regurgitating things that he said without even understanding how they're relevant to the conversation. I'm pointing out to you his inconsistencies on Iran, which extend as recently as him celebrating the fact that he's the no wars president and has stopped 7 wars, which, you know, he's kind of bending the rules to count a lot of conflicts that he had some negotiations in as like stopping a war. So just a few months ago, he was celebrating that. Now he has started a war in Iran. You trust him, and you brought up the fact that he did that because he didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize. Why did you bring that up?
Well, it's not really people there fighting. It's just air and Navy. It's not like...
We bombed a school. 170 girls died. We bombed...
Iran better listen to us or else. There's severe consequences for not listening to us.
Dude, we bombed the school by accident. You're saying we should have done it on purpose?
No, that would be a casualty of it.
Explain to me what you just said, because I just said to you that we bombed a school, and then you said, yeah, they better listen. And then I pointed out, oh, buddy, it wasn't even because we were like trying to threaten them by bombing their school. We did it by accident and failed to admit it, and like that's a whole scandal. But fucking, what did you just say?
We did do it by accident, but why did any of that happen? It's because they won't listen. They wouldn't listen to us, and now they
were listening. No, they were listening to us. They were obeying the JCPOA, and then Trump threw it away. It's Trump's fault.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, that matters. It matters greatly that it is Trump's fault that they were making nuclear weapons.
No, what matters is we don't want them selling oil. They can't do that.
Okay, let's talk about the oil, because you're not going to listen to anything I just said about that. Let's look at the timeline here. Trump went into Venezuela, captured the president. Listen, history lesson, recent history, but I know you're fucking goldfish. You don't remember this. It was a few months ago. Okay, maybe I have some goldfish in the audience. Let's lay out the timeline. So he goes into Venezuela, captures the president, says to the vice president, you can be president, but you have to give us your oil infrastructure. All of your oil is ours now. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves on the planet, by the way. So he did that. He took the oil. Did he put it in the American oil reserves? Did he cushion the American oil market with it? Did he help Americans? Did he sell the oil on the global market and give the money to the taxpayer to lessen our tax burden? No. He's been selling the oil on the global market and moving the money to an offshore account in Qatar that is not controlled by the United States government. He's literally grifting for oil. And then a few months after that, he starts a war in Iran, which increases the global oil prices to such a degree that the money that he is grifting by selling the Venezuelan oil is greatly increased. So he's literally pocketing the money while Americans suffer because of gas prices. With that being the state of affairs, that's what's happened this calendar year, because he took Maduro in January. Why are you okay with this?
Yeah, so the Venezuela thing is the start, and then Iran is basically we want to sell oil to China, so we're allying with China. We're allying we're building a world economy. It's called the Golden Age. If you've ever heard Trump say that before.
Yeah, so I've heard him say that.
We are basically reserving our spot to exist in the future. Because without doing this, we risk.
I don't care what, dude. I don't care what you think you have drank the Kool-Aid on him somehow convincing you that this is good for you. Think about the course of events that I just explained. Answer me a very specific question. Why is the money from the Venezuelan oil being offshored in Qatar in a way that is not controlled by any member of the U.S. government other than Trump?
That's just your claim. I don't know that to be true.
If that was true, Do you think it's
Yeah,
defensible?
if that was true, I still trust him.
Okay, so even though it's supposed to be Congress's job, according to the Constitution, to handle issues of finances like this.
Congress has failed America. We cannot trust Congress. We have to
Yeah,
take
dude, again,
over.
I just have a caller who's like wishy-washy about the rules. You're just going to ignore what Congress does? President should do everything? You're not an American. You're not a patriot. You don't believe
Why
in
do
the
you think
Constitution.
we voted Trump in?
Because you're not a patriot?
Yeah, because we wanted to change the system.
Okay. I mean, W host, right? Like, you admit you're not a patriot?
No, I am a patriot. I think that Congress are not patriots.
Well, I agree because they're
Some of
refusing to
them. Some of
impeach.
them are.
I agree that they are not patriots. Most of them at the moment because they're refusing to impeach the president that isn't following the Constitution. But yeah, you don't believe in the separation of powers. You don't believe in the correct process.
Oh yeah, I do. Of course I do. I'm a true American.
No, you're not.
Yeah, and Congress has failed. They've swindled our money. We're exposing the fraud all over the country.
You're just moving on to all.
Billions of
Okay,
dollars.
again, explain to me why it's okay for Trump to put the money in Qatar. You said that you're okay with it because you trust him, but I'm trying to. We're asking you to use your imagination. What's a reason for him to do that is other than corruption?
Because he went and got it. It's his money.
No,
What
it
are you talking
isn't. You think that the president can use the military to rob people?
And that's not even true.
You said, wait, you said it's his money. He used the U.S. military to abduct the president. He said to the vice president, we will continue using the U.S. military to bomb your country to shit if you don't give us all of your oil. He robbed somebody at gunpoint and the gun belonged to the U.S. government and he was acting as president. And you're saying that that's his money?
Yeah, we're pirates.
Is this a troll, dude?
Ahoy.
Fuck you, dude. Like, fucking wasting my time. Like, that's the thing. It's like you have to be like a dipshit troll to fucking like support this shit. Like, what a fucking waste of time today has been. I'm not even mad at the guests. I'm like mad that my show wasn't good today because nobody serious was on it. Like, the guy's really gonna argue minutia with me about packing the court when the president isn't following the Constitution and won't even listen to me about what I actually said about packing the court. And then this guy comes up and we spend all that time talking just for him to be cornered enough to say we're pirates. Ahoy, matey. Like, this is getting fucking sad. Oh, wait, I knew that before I started the show. That's why I wrote it on this piece of paper. Okay. Michelle in the chat says they think it's all a joke. And it's like, yeah, like, forgive me for being upset that my country's fucking falling into tyranny. They think it's a fucking joke. You're not going to think it's a fucking joke when your water turns off or something. Like, it's bad what happens to countries when they fall into civil war. It's bad what happens to countries when they don't follow the Constitution. Like, we're on this, like, terrible fucking path. I don't think I have any more. I don't think I have any more donations, but I got to check the Venmo periodically because it doesn't give me notifications for some reason. I got to fix that. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Where are we? We are an hour in the show. Bro, we know how to make water, LOL. I don't think you do. We, like, being people, like, no, we're fucked if the food system collapses or the power goes out or something. We can pull it right out of the ground. Yeah, water, we're actually not that fucked on. People can drill wells, but you're so fucked if the food system collapses. If Trump successfully deports all the illegal immigrants and the agricultural system in this country collapses, we're going to need, like, aid drops from other countries. It's going to be fucking embarrassing. Oh man, other countries have GTA 20 and we're still waiting for 6. Yeah. These days you can't even drink out of a water hose. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I happen to live in a place where the drinking water is pretty good. But I think it was so sad before 2025. They have no clue where we're headed. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was sad the first time. Little World says, "Hey, Oscar. Hey, how you doing?" How do you call in? Oh, so yeah, there's nobody in right now. So there's a little like pink and blue like heads to the right of the chat on your screen, like that little button. If you click that, that's the request button, and it'll get you in the queue. And then it's a much more obvious button once there currently is a caller, but there isn't at the moment. Wow, lots of crazy stuff going on in the chat. I'm from West Virginia. Our water is brown out of the faucet. Yeah, West Virginia's. I feel for you guys. You guys have some longitudinal socioeconomic struggles going on that I hope get remedied. But we don't currently have a president that cares about poor people. So unfortunately, I need to put you on the back burner, and I need to focus on getting a president and some leadership in Congress that actually cares about suffering Americans, so we can work on some of that stuff. William says, I live in California. The water's great. I grew up in New York, and I miss the fucking tap water in New York. Jan Armad is reminding everybody there's a link tree in the bio where you can find the full VODs of this show. It'll be interesting to see the YouTube comments. There's probably going to be a ton of people who think the first guest cooked me, but it is just like, I couldn't get him I'm gonna I listened to all the calls again and I judge myself, and I'm gonna listen to that one, and it's just like I couldn't get him to pin down on anything. There's nothing, like he wouldn't answer what I was saying, like it's just so like, oh, he must have had a good reason to do that. He needed to see the context on the president violating the Constitution. No, you fucking don't, dude. Like, it's straightforward. Yeah, how it was manipulated. Not enough people went out to vote in 2024. I'm embarrassed that we lost the 24 election, but that's like an L for the Democrats. But and people call in and they're like, aren't you mad at the Democrats for losing? And I'm like, yes, of course I am. Of course I am. Can't argue with a potato whether it's baked or mashed. Yeah. All right, let's I'll start ordering you guys to double tap away on the screen. I forget to say these things because the show's been going so well lately. I haven't needed to demand that people double tap the screen to get more votes in here, or more callers in here. I said vote because Lauren's asking me, did I vote? Of course, yeah. I think I'd be a real asshole if I was sitting here not voting. That'd be embarrassing. That'd be a scandal if Oskar Quentin hadn't turned out. No, I voted. I voted for Kamala, which wasn't like super duper excited about. Love the flag. Okay. This flag was confiscated from a person in a crowd at a show by somebody who I know who works there, and they gave it to me, and because they wanted to give it to the artist, and the person who made this flag reached out to me because they found my account. They were like scrolling on Instagram, and they were like, "This motherfucker has my flag. How did this guy get my flag?" So they like reached out, and we like talked about it because you can't have like a sign this big at a show, so it got taken away by the staff. So I have a side quest in my life, which is to get this flag to Haley Williams. So Haley, I have a flag for you someday. Anyway, what else is going on in the chat? There's a lot of invisible ignorance fallacy happening today. Yeah, I just, it's so hard to like, I mean, I guess it's what I do. Like it's the whole point of me doing this is that I sit down and try to figure these things out with people. But it's like you're sitting here talking about all this, like, stuff you allegedly care about, but like they just don't care what the rules are. Like they just don't care. Oh, I like Trump doing that. It's real cool. Trump, he does that. I like bombing those children. It's just like I couldn't even get that guy to defend what he said about that school being bombed because he literally thought it was intentional. So he went the extra step of being like, yeah, we should bomb their schools. And I was like, holy shit, dude, it was an accident. Like, oh my God. They didn't believe the video, right? Yeah, the video from 2011 of Trump that Trump posted dogging on Obama for doing exactly what Trump ended up doing, like, or saying that Obama was going to do what Trump ended up doing and dogging on him for it. They don't believe that video. It's like, we're fucking cooked, people. Like they can decide that what they look at isn't real, and then they've won the argument to them, and it's like, fucking, there's no hope. Yeah, so the guest request is a little pink and blue pair of heads to the right of the chat button at the bottom of your screen. Will the mod is helping you guys point it out. There we go. Wait, no, an invitation to co-host? Absolutely not. No, nobody's allowed to co-host my show. No, you may join the request queue. Nice try. They'd believe it was ChatGPT, though. That's the thing. These are people who call things fake, and then they use ChatGPT. And one of the things I do on this show is when people Google things, I have them just type the Google search word for word to show how... oh, my God. Wait, perfect. Dude, Perfect is saying that the school wasn't bombed. That's misinformation. You can't even come up and argue with me about that on the show because TikTok will ban you. There's video of it. There's video of a Tomahawk missile hitting a school. Like, it's insane. They think they are the good guys. Host, you got to feel for Trump and his followers. They are some of the biggest bullies ever. It's getting sad. I feel like it's good morning, cats rule. Cats rule. Do I have a cat handy? Ooh, I do. Hold on. Noodle, go. Well. Go, Noodle. My dog is jealous that... Wait, don't step on the keyboard, Merlin, with your fat ass. Oh. There we go. All right, there we go. There you go. Now there's a cat in frame for Cat's Rule. Yes, this is Merlin. Normally it's Scout who disturbs the show. Merlin's not so adventurous like that. But hey, he's sitting on the desk. That's nice. Maybe he'll hang out. I love black cats too. Yeah. And then Brighton Oak says hello. How's everybody doing? Maybe this becomes a friendly stream. Maybe I just have friends up because it's weird. Normally I don't have to worry about getting callers on a Saturday show, but I don't know. I guess they're scared today. But it's it's like my least favorite type of caller where you just can't actually talk about anything. Like the second caller was a troll, I guess, and then the first caller is just so stuck on a couple of talking points that there's no like having. Okay, so Joker 777, do you want to talk about whether it was a school or a military base? The school used to be a military base, but because Iran was doing less military stuff, because like for example they were following the JCPOA, they had retired a building and made it a school, which is why we accidentally bombed it. But it was our fault. We did have the intel that it wasn't a military target anymore. Somebody made a mistake and 170 children died because of that mistake, and the president denied it. And then the press asked him, does that mean the president suggested that they bombed their own school to make us look bad or something? And then because we know it was a Tomahawk missile that bombed it, the reporters asked Trump, does that mean that Iran has Tomahawk missiles? And then Trump's like, I don't know. And the press is like, that's fucking crazy. What? Yeah, it was an accident, but we haven't admitted it. It was a total blunder. It was like negligence. We shouldn't have done it. Like when I say it was an accident, what I mean is that we didn't say let's bomb a school today. What happened is they like failed to not bomb a school through negligence, which is also not good. It's not as bad as doing it on purpose. But yeah. That's the scandal. They're not talking about it. They're refusing to even admit that we bombed the school at all, which is just horrible. But we just shouldn't be at war, you know? They're refusing to admit we're at war and we accidentally bombed a school. Like, fucking come on. Man, the chat's going nuts about the school in Iran. Like, God, could we just not be at war with Iran? How about that? I might call the show early today. I'm like not feeling it. There's nobody in the request queue. I don't want this much dead air on my YouTube. Today might be an L. Today might be an L just because I don't know. Like it's what use is it talking to those guys? And then it scares those guys away. Those guys never come back, right? Like I mean, I guess I feel like I've talked to Average Guy before, but like Monica says she loves my show. Oh, here we go. Oh, we've got a friendly in the chat. This I happen to know is a friendly. How you doing, Chromosome?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Doing good. How old are you? Just for everybody else.
31.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
You were. No, it was definitely a fucking school. People are being really silly right now. Whether or not we did it on purpose, again, doesn't matter. We shouldn't be at war with Iran. I agree. And yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. For everybody, the person on the line right now is somebody that I just happen to know in real life. So I think I'm going to declare a friendly hour because I'm not getting callers. So we can just chit chat for an hour. Whoever wants to talk to me. Dude, I know you have reasonable opinions on Iran. I appreciate you coming up and sharing some like common sense about this. We bombed a fucking school. Like.
I mean, my whole thing is I think we're still doing this to hide from the files, Doug.
Oh yeah, dude. You know what? Actually, I was gonna sing "Blowing to the Wind" by Bob Dylan today. That's a good song choice for you know people not being upset about us bombing a school. Oh my God.
Hey, sorry, dude. I gotta go.
Later, dude. I'm gonna kick you for the algorithm. Of my buddy. Let's just do music time. I don't even care. Short show today. Maybe we'll see. Yeah, let's sing a folk song about bombing people, because that's actually what I had prepared for today. But maybe I'll wrap the show early and I can spend more time editing, because I'm super behind on the YouTube VODs. But man, 10 to 12 Central Standard Time every day is the plan if you're gonna get out of here while I start playing the guitar, because I don't have to work until June during the day anyway of my evening job. There's my impression of Johnny Cash singing a Bob Dylan song. Oh my God, I didn't even lose the viewers. Sick. All right, I'll scroll up and see what everybody thought. Let's see if it's all hate. Talking about the school blowing up. There we go. Will wants everybody to share the live while I'm singing. That's very nice of him. Do have a live goal. You can go check out the link tree in the bio. Yeah. Lauren says you sound like Johnny Cash. Yeah, Johnny Cash is kind of my specialty. Lots of W's. That's nice. Yeah, if I had a second mic, this would be fire. I am working on improving the technology to like, I do have an interface here, and I'm using 2 interfaces for TikTok. It's like a whole thing. I'm going to have like probably a sound check live at some point, so maybe message me if you want to get in on that, because it's going to be a private one. Excuse me, Noodle. I'm using my computer mouse right now. I know. Yes. W's in the chat for Noodle, but go Noodle. I need to use the mouse. Okay. Okay. No, now she's on the other side. That's right. I can pet you with my left hand. That's what I'm always doing out of frame. I'm always petting my dog. People always ask what my left hand is doing over here. W's in the chat. Oh yeah. I'm surprised I didn't lose the viewership as much. Maybe I'll just do another song and I'll get out of here and I can get to video editing, because I don't have any plans for tonight, and it's a beautiful day on a Saturday. So instead of going out and having fun like a young person, Noodle. I should probably go for a run with Noodle. She's being antsy. But maybe I'll just spend the whole day video editing. I was saying those the other day. I want to see one of these new ones I'm practicing. What do I want to do? I need to organize this damn binder. Might do this one. That'd be fun. What else do I have here? Oh yeah. I could sing a deep track. I don't know. We'll see. Window today, sitting in the Silver Spoon Cafe. Yeah, I'll sing a... Oh, do I want to do that one? I'm being indecisive. I don't know what's going on. What's going on in the chat? Oskar has some wild clips on Instagram. Check it out. Jen is always going to work. W's in the chat for the mods, like for like actually working on this stuff. All right, I'm gonna do... Where? I just had it. I'm gonna do a deep track. I like doing the deep tracks because there's a bunch of old random Johnny Cash songs that I like that are like not known all that well. So I'll do one of those. Let me just see if that's good. All right, where'd my guitar go? It really does make me feel honored that I can tank the stream by starting to play the guitar, because really it's just, people are here for the debate live, so they're not going to hang out for it. So the fact that there's 100 of you still hanging out is like a big deal to me. I really appreciate it. Oh, and that's throw a cape on. Bad music in the 90s that I'm a big fan of. Amanda says, fucking amazing. Thank you. Justin says, Michelle says, Chris. I don't know who that is. Is that Chris Christopherson? Is that actually a Chris Christopherson song? You never know with Johnny Cash. He only wrote like half of his songs. Jackson says, awesome job. Thank you, Jackson. What else we got going on in the chat? And there's still 80 of you here. It's like cool. It's like there's like 80 people who hang out for the live, and then even when the show's over, they like still hang out anyway. So yeah, I definitely appreciate all you guys. I'll be live at 10 a.m. in the morning, but I'm going to call the show short today because I'm just actually gonna accept that the algorithm isn't giving me any good callers. But I am on a path to do the show 10 to 12 Central Standard Time in the morning every day for the foreseeable. More cash covering Dylan, says Diana. I can make that happen. Yeah. And I got to work on some Dylan. I'm trying to perform at the next No Kings rally because I know the people who organize that. And like, oh my God, what if I got to like sing with Joan Baez or something? That'd be really sick. Yeah, I think Joan Baez would appreciate my pipes. Midwest Progressive made it just in time for the music. Happy that you did. Yeah. Early show today. Just gonna go with what's happening with the algorithm, and I've already tanked the show by playing music. So you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow.